Join our community by subscribing. Every click helps us share more stories like this one. The introduction. In the small, unremarkable town of Oakridge, nestled between the rolling hills of West Virginia, a shroud of mystery concealed dark secrets. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting elongated shadows across weathered porches and cracked sidewalks, an unsettling stillness enveloped the region. Oakridge appeared to be an ordinary place on the outskirts of civilization, but beneath its surface lay a story waiting to unfurl, a narrative of betrayal, greed, and a crime that would leave an indelible mark on its residents. 2 days prior, tragedy struck when the body of local high school teacher Jenna Holloway was discovered in the dense thicket of the adjacent forest. Her vanishing had sent shockwaves through a community that thought it knew everyone, and now the unfathomable reality began to sink in, like the thick fog that descended upon the town each evening. As rumors swirling about her personal life and the small-town dynamics began to escalate, the dense woods whispered the secrets. Who lived there? Sergeant Mike Collins, a seasoned investigator with a penchant for solving the unsolvable, found himself drawn into a web of intrigue. Familiar with the town's history and the people who inhabited it, he knew that every conversation held a clue. Every remaining whisper hid a secret, and every interaction could lead him closer to the truth. Oakridge may have appeared calm on the surface, but Collins could feel the tension crackle in the air, as if the very roots of the town were entwined with deception. The victim, Jenna Holloway, had always been more than just a teacher at Oakridge High. She was a beacon of hope for countless students searching for direction. Her commitment to fostering creativity and encouraging passion in young minds earned her respect and admiration. The vibrant mural she painted in the school's art room symbolized her fierce dedication, depicting the very spirit of the town, a blend of dreams and heartache. But as the unsettling news of her death spread, those who loved her would soon discover that the light she brought to others had hidden shadows all its own. In the days leading up to her disappearance, Jenna was seen less frequently around town. A mix of personal upheaval, a recent breakup, whispers of financial strain cast doubt over her once unshakable standing. Neighbors recalled faint sounds of heated arguments at her apartment, glimpses of a figure lurking around her door in the late hours. Were these merely figments of their imagination? Or were they clues that painted a grim output of her last days? As Sergeant Collins delved deeper into Jenna's life, he unearthed connections that revealed a tapestry of conflicting relationships. There was Ethan, the ambitious local artist whose love for Jenna might have bordered on obsession. Julia, her childhood friend who had distanced herself under unclear circumstances. And even parents who harbored resentment over Jenna's unconvention. Teaching methods. Each person he encountered held a fragment of Jenna's truth. But as Collins stitched together the narrative, the true picture remained frustratingly elusive. In the cold light of dawn, the town gathered outside the high school, grief mingling with curiosity. Jenna had touched many lives, but with her death came a deeper inquiry into the things they had overlooked, an exploration into the dark and tangled web that ultimately led to her tragic fate. The crime scene, the forest where Jenna's body was found, lay like a graveyard, a place that once teemed with laughter and life, now suffocated under the weight of grief. Trees towered above, their gnarled branches stretching out like skeletal hands, creating a natural barricade. As Sergeant Collins descended the gentle hill, the crisp autumn air hung heavy with the pungent scent of damp earth and decaying leaves, as if nature itself mourned. The investigators had cordoned off the area with bright yellow tape, marking the thresholds between safety and the unknown. With each step deeper into the underbrush, Collins could almost hear the echoes of distant memories. The sun, filtering through the canopy, cast dappled shadows on the ground, illuminating the spot where Jenna lay, her once vibrant spirit now silenced. The scene drew an array of forensic specialists, each familiar face brimming with a sense of urgency. Jenna's body had been discovered near an old oak, its roots entwined in a network of brambles, suggesting a struggle. A solitary glove lay abandoned nearby, frayed and smeared with evidence of a long-buried confrontation. As the coroner meticulously examined the body, Collins scanned the area for anything out of the ordinary, whispering narratives that floated in the air as he pieced together the story that unfolded within the shadow. Surrounding them, the woods held their breath, concealing clues invisible to the untrained eye. Footprints large, unmistakably masculine, rolled away from the crime scene, merging with the leaves and dirt. Whether they would unveil a suspect or sink deeper into the realm of mystery was uncertain. Collins felt the weight of those lost moments escalating, the ticking clock at the back of his mind reminding him that justice must be swift, even as the shadows threatened to swallow the truth whole. The investigations unfolded at a brisk pace, fueled by a palpable urgency that gripped Oakridge. Sergeant Collins gathered a small team of dedicated officers, each acutely aware of the stakes involved in unraveling the tight-knit fabric of the town. They assembled in the cramped precinct, walls adorned with faded photographs and bulletin boards cluttered with reminders of past cases. The weight of Jenna's death loomed larger than any other, a shared determination igniting their collective resolve. First, Collins orchestrated interviews with Jenna's colleagues, hoping to glean insights into her life beyond the walls of the classroom. The faculty lounge, typically filled with light-hearted banter, was now shrouded in sorrow. The tension was thick in the air as he spoke to fellow teachers who recalled her passion, but also her recent distraction-sure anxiety over mounting bills, a change in demeanor that sparked concern amongst friends. The next stop was Jenna's apartment. Its modest interior held reminiscences of a life cut short. The detectives carefully examined her belongings, sifting through art supplies, stacks of ungraded papers, and a worn-out journal. Scribbles within its pages hinted at turmoil entries marked by personal reflections, arguments scribbled out in angry ink, personal connections that shifted and swayed with the changing seasons. Could these insights lead them to someone who wished her harm? As darkness fell, the team worked tirelessly, combing through the names of those who last saw her alive. The more they uncovered, the more it became clear that clarity slipped through their fingers. There were whispers about a rumored affair, a disdainful rivalry brewing among a collective of local artists, and even a troubled mentorship with a student lingering too long after hours. Each newfound piece of information created more questions than answers, tightening the grip of uncertainty around the case. Amidst the cacophony of unresolved clues, Collins couldn't shake the feeling that the town held its breath, waiting for justice to illuminate the darkness surrounding Jenna's tragic end. The dead ends. As the investigation progressed, the initial surge of urgency began to dwindle, giving way to frustration. Days turned into weeks, and each avenue explored led to a labyrinth of dead ends. as if the universe conspired to cloak the truth in shadows. The community's hope for resolution ebbed and waned, as whispers grew louder speculations that Jenna might have been tangled in something unspeakable. A narrative suspended in uncertainty. Sergeant Collins pored over evidence, the clutter of case files encircling him like a prison of despair. He reviewed witness statements, some barely accurate, others riddled with half-truths and contradictions. Every potential suspect brought forth felt like another false leader shadow without a trace. The enigmatic figure seen lurking near Jenna's apartment only deepened the mystery, leaving them with yet another name, yet another blind alley, and speculation that soon felt like sand slipping through his hand. As autumn painted the town in shades of orange and gold, Oakridge wore a mournful expression. The cheerful festival that had once brought families together was now overshadowed by tragedy. The annual harvest fair place where laughter mingled with the scent of caramel apples felt jarring in the backdrop of Jenna's unresolved death. Through the crowd, his keen eyes scanning for anything out of place. Parents accompanied their children, laughter ethereal, but to him, the laughter echoed hollowly, a reminder of what had been lost. Every interview felt like déjà vu, familiar stories surfacing with slight tweaks, leaving him questioning whether anyone truly glimpsed the person he sought. From Ethan, the heartbroken artist, to Julia, the elusive childhood friend, each conversation circled back to the same perplexing narratives: love, betrayal, and heartbreak. The relentless search for the truth felt like grasping vapor. Every revelation observed too close seemed to dissolve into nothingness. As the investigation stalled, Collins felt the weight of Jenna's memory and the obligation to those who mourned her. He hoped against hope that the clarity he sought would pierce through the fog that surrounded the town and lead him back to the heart of its darkness. A break in the case. Weeks of uncertainty stretched on. The relentless pursuit of truth simmering just beneath the surface, until one fateful evening brought an unexpected glimmer. Sergeant Collins received an anonymous tip that would change the trajectory of the investigation. The call was brief and cryptic, delivered in an urgent whisper that reverberated with underlying fear. "Check the garage behind the old Miller house," the voice advised. "You will find what you're looking for." The Miller house stood as a derelict relic on the outskirts of Oakridge. Once a lively family home turned into a haunting shell of memory. It had become a subject of speculative lore. Tales of lost love and bitter betrayal exchanged among residents. Collins felt a shiver run through him as he approached the crumbling structure, the moon casting an eerie light across its time-worn window. Each creak of the wooden floorboards echoed his heartbeat, a reminder that something awaited him within the shadows. As he entered the garage, dark corners swallowed the low light of his flashlight, revealing an array of discarded furniture, bicycles long neglected, and remnants of life left behind. He moved cautiously, the air thick with must and nostalgia, until something shimmered in the periphery. There, between an old lawnmower and a pile of rotting boxes, lay a battered box, its lid slightly ajar. Collins leaned down, heart pounding in his chest as he opened it. Inside, layers of worn cloth hid an assortment of items, a diary that didn't belong to Jenna, photographs and pieces of jewelry, including a distinct locket that felt hauntingly familiar. As he pulled out the diary, a gust of wind whistled through the garage, increasing the sense of urgency. Contents encouraged feelings of dread, but also the promise of clarity. With each page he turned, the words came alive, weaving a tale of chaos, jealousy, and deceit, not only revealing secrets of the past, but also pointing towards a singular name that echoed through the town. Collins felt the enigma of Jenna's life evolving into a clearer image, its edges sharpened by the details unearthed. As the threads of the investigation began to knit together, it was now a race against time. This newfound evidence might be the key to unlocking the unresolved tragedies of the past. The suspect, as dawn broke over Oakridge, illuminating the town with a stark light. Sergeant Collins sat at his desk, sifting through the revelations unearthed from the Miller garage. The diary was a testament to torment filled with entries that chronicled a toxic relationship and a deep-seated animosity that had spiraled out of control. Each page unfurled the identity of a name he couldn't shake from his mind. Ethan Treadwell, the local artist who had long claimed to love Jenna, but whose jealousy may have spiraled to violence. Ethan had been an intermittent figure throughout the investigation, his grief over Jenna's death palpable. Yet there was something else lurking in the shadows of his persona. As Collins pieced together Ethan's timeline, he learned about a confrontation at a local art show and altercation that had raised eyebrows and stirred the murky waters of rumor. Friends had overheard heated exchanges between Ethan and a mystery figure who had berated him about his jealousy and reckless behavior towards the beloved teacher. With a renewed sense of purpose, Collins arranged to speak with Ethan again. He found him in a dimly lit studio, filled with canvases suspended in various stages of completion. The air was thick with the scent of turpentine, and the walls echoed a chorus of colors that seemed playful against the tension crackling in the room. Collins wasted no time. He presented the findings, observing the artist's reaction closely. Ethan's demeanor shifted like a canvas under changing light. Initially defensive, his bravado gave way to fear as Collins revealed details from the diary, particularly the entries detailing Jenna's disdain for possessive traits. The atmosphere thickened, and Collins recognized that Ethan had become a marionette, dangling between anger and despair. Jenna was everything to me, Ethan said, his voice a strained whisper, but she was slipping away. Maybe I just couldn't let her go. Those words lingered in the air, a confession shadowed by confusion. Had love ignited his rage, transforming admiration into something darker? Collins knew he was on the precipice of discovery. With Ethan now firmly in his sights, he needed to probe deeper to discern whether this artist was merely a heartbroken man or the orchestrator behind Jenna's tragic fate. The trial. Months passed since Sergeant Collins first uncovered the unsettling truth surrounding Jenna Holloway's death, and the community of Oakridge was burdened by a heavy anticipation. The trial had finally begun, filling the small courthouse with palpable tension, as residents filled the pews to bear witness to the unraveling of what had once seemed like an unfathomable horror. As Ethan Treadwell stood trial for the murder of Jenna, the courtroom felt alive with unspoken emotions, eyes cast downward, others searching for answers in their neighbors' reactions. Collins sat among the spectators, feeling the weight of every gaze. He recalled the disheveled garage, the whispers of the diary, and the shadowy confessions that had led to this moment. The air was electric, each word spoken layered with gravity. The prosecution laid out a timeline that detailed Ethan's escalating jealousy and obsession, juxtaposing it with the passionate nature of their relationship. Witnesses recounted the volatile argument at the art show, painting a portrait of a man driven to the edge, a canvas splattered with erratic strokes that hinted at violence. As the testimonies echoed through the chamber, familiar faces reflected the town's mounting grief friends of Jenna, colleagues, and the ever-watchful gaze of Oakridge. Yet, Ethan's defense clung to the fragments of doubt, portraying him as a lost lover, sculpted by heartbreak into something unrecognizable. His attorney argued the lack of concrete evidence, emphasizing that no murder weapon had been recovered, and that the motivation stemmed from pure emotion rather than malice. Collins observed Ethan's responses, each gesture and facial expression becoming a dance of defiance and despair. As the trial dragged on, the atmosphere thickened, packed with a bruised sense of anticipation. The jury wrestled with the complex tapestry of love, betrayal, and grief intertwined in each narrative presented. In the quiet moments, Collins felt the weight of a community holding its breather, longing for justice that had become as elusive as the truth inside the courtroom. And then, the day arrived when the jury would enter, and the decision that would lay bare the heart of Oakridge would soon unfold. The aftermath. The gavel struck, reverberating through the hollow spaces of the courthouse, sealing Ethan Treadwell's fate. Guilty. The word hung in the air, a heavy stone plummeting into the depths of Oakridge's collective conscience. As Ethan was led away in handcuffs, the murmur of disbelief radiated through the stunned crowd. Those who had come to support Jenna felt relief intertwining with grief, a surreal weight pressing down on their chests as the reality of the verdict settled in. In the days that followed, the town grappled with the aftermath. Memorials for Jenna sprang up like wildflowers amongst the cracks in the pavement vases of sunflowers, and hastily written notes adorned the steps of Oakridge High, a bittersweet tribute to a life snuffed out too soon. The artwork she had fostered in her students decorated the walls, reminding everyone that her legacy continued in the minds of those she had inspired to embrace creativity. Sergeant Collins walked the familiar roads of Oakridge with a newfound heaviness in his heart. The resolution of the case had not restored the peace the community yearned for. It merely opened fresh wounds. Conversations in the cappuccino shop buzzed with concerns of trust, suspicion casting long shadows on friendships that had weathered storms. Many wondered who they could confide in, who among them might harbor secrets beneath the calm surface. In the quiet of his office, Collins acknowledged the questions that lingered. What if he had missed a sign? Had they all underestimated the love woven with darkness? The reflections weighed heavily, yet he understood that closure would be an ongoing process, both for himself and for the heartbroken town. As Oakridge continued to face the world in the wake of the trial, Collins found strength in the bonds of the community fellowships, forged in grief, might just become the very salve needed to heal. The darkness that had permeated their lives now urged them toward resilience, guiding their footsteps towards a collective yearning for understanding, forgiveness, and an emerging light that would guide them forward. Reflection. As days turned into weeks after the trial, Sergeant Collins found himself leaning against the old oak tree just outside the precinct, a quiet haven where the whispers of the past melded with the rustle of leaves. Here, He could reflect on the case that had taken so much from the town of Oakridge, a bittersweet conclusion resting heavily on his mind. Despite the steps toward justice, the true cost remained starkly evident in the faces of the townspeople, hearts burdened by a loss that could never be fully mended. The intricacies of human relationships echoed in his thought. Jenna Holloway had been more than just a victim. She was a symbol of vibrant creativity, inspired affection, and hidden truths. Her life intertwined with those around her, a web of emotions ranging from love to envy, illustrating the delicate balance of trust that, when shattered, led to violence. His reflection was steeped in a growing awareness of the delicate fragility of human connection. In the quiet moments, Collins began to pen his own journal. He documented the lessons learned, the bravery of a community facing grief, and the unyielding pursuit of truth. The weight of guilt continued to linger, but it morphed into a quiet resolve, not only to safeguard the lives within his jurisdiction, but also to be a steadfast guardian of the very essence of humanity he had dedicated his life to protect. As a gentle breeze rustled the leaves overhead, he resolved to honor Jenna's memory by fostering awareness and compassion, encouraging open dialogues that promoted understanding rather than division. Walking back to the precinct, he felt a profound connection to Oakridge. They'd faced darkness together, and from that darkness grew a commitment to light.